Welcome back, wanderers. Welcome back to my channel. Landis here for another tutorial video on how to outfit your ship. This time we're going to take a look on the CARACAL trainer. CARACAL, as you can see on the screen, is quite an ugly ship, yet it is one of the most popular one that you can see either in the trainer version, the normal version, or the Navy version. This is one of the most commonly seen and used ship for anomalies, PvP and encounters. So let's take a look on the ship's trade. This is a trainer version, so basically you don't have much in terms of skill bonuses. You can see you will get a 5% flat on missile torpedo velocity, which means increase, and that is for each level you have in medium missile operation. And for cruiser command you get flight velocity, which might be useful as we can see later on, but it is not really OP in the game. So ship overall, what you can see is that we have, with the current skill set, and I will go later on with the skills that might be relevant for that ship, we are nearly at a 10k overall defense. 3,500, sorry, in shields, about 2/3 in armor, so 2,500, and the rest in structure. So if you look at that, basically means that you will be more focusing on shield management than armor management, and this could be perceived as a shield tank in a way, rather than an AMAR, which is more in armor. Weapon-wise, you have basically two choices. The one that you see here on the screen currently, which basically is outfitting the medium missile launchers. And I know most of you, if not more, will kind of start yelling because everyone seems to be acknowledging that the rapid medium is better than the medium itself. Honestly, I have a slightly different perspective, and I'm gonna explain why I think both options is a matter of your playstyle rather than pure performance that you're looking at. When you look at the medium missile, what you see here is that we have a hefty 41-kilometer range. It means that you will be able to kite at range, and if you combine that with the quite correct speed for a cruiser of the CARACAL, especially that I have outfitted with afterburners and some internals I will show you later on, it means that you will be able to sort of speed tank a bit and remain at range of most of your enemy, except the really fast frigates, which might pose a threat in there. So medium missile, you need to think of, I'm gonna stay at range and basically make sure that my enemy cannot hit me, which for me is the best way of tanking, is avoiding damage altogether. With that being outfitted, you are still at the correct 135 DPS, which is kind of okay. If you look back at my video on the Omen trainer, you have seen that I was more at 110 or 115 with my laser fittings in there, so I'm a bit above. The only thing that I don't like about missile is the way they operate, because they tend to make you think that you will have a hefty DPS, but basically the way they handle the damage dealing is in essence that they will not achieve the target. Okay, so if you look here, you see that they have a max range, so above you miss, below you hit, and they have an explosion radius and explosion velocity. So it means that to apply the full DPS, your target will need to be enclosed in the radius at the time it is fully reached. So here 120 meters and 85 explosion velocity, it means that it will take 1.5 seconds more or less for the full damage to be applied. And if you are targeting a fast ship, it means that it will have moved outside of your explosion radius, and so avoid some of the damage. So this is why basically with missile it will take as long to kill a cruiser as to kill a frigate, because a cruiser is slower and will get close to the full damage, but it has such a pool of hit points that it will be absorbing much of it, while the frigates, basically it will move away from your damage. Okay, so that really needs to be understood, because when you look at the numbers, you can be misled heavily with the missiles, thinking that you have a hefty DPS, while in reality it will depend on your target and mostly your target velocity. Now it looks at the settings when I shift it to the rapid version. So you see the DPS increase from 135 to 155, which is a significant increase. But as you can see from the details, what you have is something which has a much lower range. Okay, you're barely at 28 kilometers mark, which means that basically you will be in the range of most of the medium systems. So the railguns, the lasers, they are all in the 28-30 landmark. So this is why personally I prefer kiting at range, avoiding the damage and dealing maybe a little less, but more sustainably, than having something which has a higher rate of fire. The explosion radius is shorter, the explosion velocity also, so it means that the DPS will be more stable and more consistent compared to the number that you see. But anyway, you will be hit back by your opponent, okay, except maybe when they are using very close range weapons, or for frigates where the small version have a very low range, then you may escape the range. So basically, as I said, matter of playstyle. You want to avoid damage, kite at range, go for the medium missiles. If you want to deal a bit more damage and you don't care, needing to manage a bit more your shields and so on, then you can go for the rapid version, and you will get a more higher DPS version. So that goes for the high feelings and the weapon. On the mid slot, basically what I put in here was the stasis webifier, 2 of them, because it was to be used in conjunction with the medium and not the rapid version. So in that case, if you have a target which comes very close or is very fast, better have the opportunity to slow that down very efficiently. So you will reduce speed to around 25% of the initial, so that your missile can get a bit more damage and more sustains. If you go for the rapid version, potentially you can consider shifting one of those for Nosferatu, so that will help you with the capacitor management, which I'll come to in a moment. So basically, this is what you can do: 2 webifiers, or 1 webifier, 1 Nosferatu. You see that I don't have a drone in there, basically because if I kite at range 40 kilometers, then the drone is outside of the range. So it could be useful if you get a fast target that close in, but otherwise, personally, as I use the other version, I tend not to outfit a drone and remain with a 2 webifier. On the low slots, what I actually did is put on a guidance computer, which will extend my range, my velocity, and basically give me a bit more of range where I can start pounding my enemy down before they can reach me. So you see here, flight time bonus, that's a net range increase, slightly reduction in the explosion radius, so that means that the DPS will be more consistent, but very slightly, and the explosion velocity is again something that will help get a bit more of sustained DPS and less variability. But 5%, I'm not expecting to see a significant difference. It's really the flight time bonus which I was after, because basically it will give me an extension of the range. When you activate it, so that was the passive, you get a flat 5-time those modifiers, so it can help extend the range, means you can potentially hit a fast frigate at a much higher range than that, and it will also maybe get a bit more sustained damage if that frigate has come close and personal and you need to dispose of it because you cannot outrun it. Afterburner, yes, as I said, I want to kite at range, so basically I will use that to get a bit of extra velocity. In the base velocity you have seen was around 300 meters per second, which is quite fast for a cruiser. If I use the afterburner, then I'm most likely gonna go much higher than that, and go to around 500-600 meters per second, which will help me kite again better. And then the last piece is for shield management, so it's a medium shield booster. Basically will help generate shield over time should I get hit. But again, I'm not expecting to have to use it, because with the medium version and kiting at 40 kilometers, there are not that many weapon systems that would be able to actually reach me. So that's why I do prefer the medium over the rapid firing version. And that is why as well why I didn't focus on the capacitor management on this particular build, because as I don't expect to be using the shield booster, which is the one which will be draining my capacitor, then it should be okay. So the rigs, well, I used a control circuit, and you see those are the prototype version, all of those. So it's a very cheap build that you see here. If you have the money that goes for the rigs or the other fittings that you have seen, you can go of course for better version that will improve the performance of the ship. But I went here with something that an alpha player could easily get, because we received the free rigs that you can choose from, and then outfit your ship. So that will help me a bit manage the capacitor, getting a faster recharge, so nearly 10% faster recharge. That's good. And I went for thruster prototype, increasing again flight velocity, again with the intent of kiting at range, and if possible speed tanking, if that is an option as well. Regarding the offensive rigs, well, basically I went for the Catalyst, because it gave a flat DPS increase, 7.5%. That is very interesting. And the other one, I went for the flight velocity adjustment, so the base thruster prototype, again trying to hit on the range and extending the range as much as I could, just to ensure a more safe build and kiting at the extreme range that I can reach. So that's basically for the fittings and the internals. Now, what kind of skills should you focus on? Well, basically you are working on a cruiser, so of course if you go into spaceship command, cruiser command, advanced cruiser command, those are skills which will improve the maneuverability of your ship. It will give you flight velocity and inertia modifier, which will help you change direction faster, and again increase a bit your overall speed. So this is nice. If you go for the maintenance, of course shield operation will be good, especially the shield operation and advanced shield operation, because those one will work on your booster, reducing the capacitor need of your booster and the cycle time that it will operate in there. I wouldn't go into the shield hardening because you don't have one on the build, so it's not necessary. Armor operation you can skip as well, and of course there is the defense upgrade, which will give you much more hit points, armor and shields. So that is a good fit as well. It will basically improve the durability of your ship, and the advanced version will give you another flat increase in terms of shield and armor, flat percentage. So those two skills are really nice to get in there as well. Engineering, yes, of course, you should go for the cruiser engineering. Cruiser engineering will work on your capacitor, so it will increase the size of the capacitor, increase your power grid, even though you have seen that I was very large on the power grid, so it's not necessary, and reduce as well the warp capacitor need. It's a trinket, but the capacitor capacity is really what you're looking for in that skill. So cruiser engineering and advanced cruiser engineering, because again it will work on your capacity overall, so giving more juice. Targeting system, of course, you can use some here in terms of target management, but that's valid for any ship. Same for electronic warfare. For your webifier, will decrease the amount of energy you need to activate. Weapon wise, you target the medium missiles operation or advanced version. Those skills will basically improve your DPS. You get a flat DPS increase and a reduction in the explosion radius. So again, it will help you get a more sustained DPS, more consistent DPS over time if you reduce the explosion radius. What is interesting, especially in the configuration that I'm looking at, is of course the upgrades of missile and torpedoes, because there not only do you get a slight increase in damage, but also you get a flight time increase, which will basically help you again get to a higher range in terms of targets that you can hit. So if you, especially if you go for the rapid medium, if you can reach up to 30 kilometers, then that could begin to be slightly more appealing, because at 30 kilometers you will be most of the time outside of the range of your enemy. Okay, the medium railgun is about 18 kilometers for the optimal range and a fall of distance of 10, so it's an overall 28 kilometers in terms of effective range. So if you can orbit at 30, then you can pound them down with a higher DPS and a missile which has a smaller radius and a higher explosion velocity. So overall it will be a much more efficient build, but I'm not sure whether this is feasible. I'll need to check later on when I can upgrade not only this to 4 or 5, but also get up to the advanced version, when I can get again a 3% in terms of flight time, and a 5% in flight time and a 3% in velocity, and see again how it relates to the actual effective range that I can have. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments, please let in the comment section below, and anything that can help me improve the channel, or if you have topics of interest that you want me to cover in those short video, please let me know. I would be more than happy to actually continue to develop the channel and give you more material that can be helpful for you to improve in game.